All right, welcome back. We are wrapping up week 2 of the fantasy season. I noticed some when I'm doing some research, some people call it week 3, but to me it's week 2 because we had like a few games in the like a half week, so week 2.5. But we're wrapping up week 2 of fantasy baseball. Hopefully, all your teams are doing great. Hopefully, they're all doing much better than my team, which is might be the worst team on all of Yahoo. I would reckon it could be, but I'm still learning here. But that's not why we're here. We're here to help you. We're here to talk about your teams, help you with your questions, whatever you need for this week, whether you're looking for trade advice, waiver wire advice, maybe streaming pictures. We got you covered. So let's start with some of the rundown of what happened in week 2, some of the surprises. And let's start with the Kansas City Royals. And I will say, one guy who's actually been consistently good for my team has been Sal Perez, my catcher for the Royals. This Royals offense has been good. Now, unfortunately, Sal Perez did leave today's game with a groin injury. But Pierre, well, first of all, are you worried about that? And second of all, are you buying into this Royals offense, or is this just a hot start?
Well, you always have to be worried about growing injury, especially when you're talking about a guy who's in his late 30s, which again, for us, that would be great. But for a baseball player that's late career, and this is a catcher who DHs and is not really known to be. He's not out there for his athleticism. Let's just say he's there to swing for the fences. But yeah, I'd be a little nervous about him, but we'll see what happens. It's a little too early to panic. Like for the Royals, I kept feeling like this was going to happen at some point. I think it happened earlier than I expected because they have the talent. And this is why I was big on like Michael Garcia before the season. Said this is a guy who could be like a spark plug at the top of that lineup. He got speed. The bat was coming around. Bobby Witt Jr. already one of the best young hitters in baseball. Right, that was not a question. But they had some disappointing performances from young players last year. Vinny Pasquantino, of course, missed most of the season because of injury, but hadn't really done a lot until then. And you figure, let's see what happens. So we got off to the worst start imaginable. Like he would have fit perfectly on your team, actually, because he just did absolutely nothing. And then all of a sudden, he had that 5 RBI game. Now he's showing what we thought he's capable of. I think he's a guy who's going to be rock solid. Not a star. Like I'm not going to go crazy. I don't think Vinny P is going to be like a superstar or anything, but he's going to hit for average. He'll get you some power, like 20 plus home runs. He'll just be like a solid anchor in the middle of that lineup. So between him and then Witt, and I thought Nelson Velasquez, nice sneaky value, has some power. He's been having actually a good start to the season. The big question mark for me was MJ Melendez, guy who had some talent and flashed it early and then kind of really disappointed last season. And now he's been hot. And I think that's been one of the keys too. So it's kind of all finally gelling. Now, do I think they're going to continue to be like a top 5 offense? No, I don't think that's realistic. But still, I mean, impressive. So far, 4th in runs scored among all offenses and 8th in team average. That's pretty impressive. Now, again, it's still early, but I do buy for the most part into those players. I like Garcia. I liked him since before the season. I've always liked Vinny P. And then Melendez is the one I wasn't sure about, but we'll see if he can keep it going.
All right, we'll see. So maybe some sneaky ads there potentially. And then another team kind of surprising, the Brewers, 10-4 right now. And another player who's been like easily my 2 best hitters have been Sal Perez and Christian Yelich. But now Christian Yelich was held out of the lineup with a back injury. So are we buying into the Brewers, or are there some sneaky guys we should be looking at in the Brewers? And are we worried about Yelich? Like, is this something that concerns you as well?
You have to be worried about Yelich because it was the back. That's what they said. Back issue. A back's been bothering him for years. And he had been fine. And then now if it's acting up again, I mean, back obviously is a big, it's a big thing for anybody, much less a baseball player, because it's going to affect every part of everything he does. So let's hope for the best. Hopefully it's just a tweak. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it deep as far as what's going on or if they shared anything, but yeah, that could be a problem for them.
Yeah.
But look, there was a sneak.
The official word is Yelich continues to deal with discomfort in his lower back. That's all.
Yeah, like that's pretty much as vague as you can get. Discomfort's going to possibly put him on the IL, but we'll see. We'll see. It's too early. But look, okay, so someone's gonna have to step up. Some players have stepped up because there was so much uncertainty with this Brewers lineup. And now I feel like people are sick of me saying that because it's true. Like I had no idea. Like, you fill out right before the season starts the projected lineups and who's gonna get playing time. I was like, I don't know. Well, who's gonna play third? I don't know. The Brewers felt like they didn't even know. And now we've kind of seen them settle in. At least we know who's not playing. But also outfield. Now, all of a sudden this week, a brand new development. Blake Perkins. Remember him? No, probably not. Because he was just kind of like here and there. Sometimes all of a sudden he's playing center field and he's hot and he's stealing bases. Is it going to last? I mean, the way they've been hitting, I think he's worth a speculative pickup, at least as a streamer. So Perkins is a guy to look for. And then a guy I did like since the preseason and we knew he was going to play was Sal Frelick. And I'm holding on. He didn't get off to a great start, but just like all the other Brewers, he's finally coming around. He's a good hitter. He has some speed, and he's been hitting near the top of the lineup. So I feel like Frelick is now finally time to buy into him. He's a guy I do have on several teams, that I actually drafted. So I like Frelick and then Perkins. And Turang we already know about since the beginning. Turang, of course, has slowed down a little bit. He's not going to lead the league in steals, but he's still worth adding because this whole Brewers offense, for now, looks legit, but let's hope that Yelich doesn't miss a lot of time. And if so, that doesn't just kind of have this domino effect of, kind of ruining everything in that offense. Oliver Dunn, also a guy he wasn't even anywhere on my radar. And now all of a sudden we have to pay attention to. He's been playing DH and a little bit of third. So also a guy, I think in a deep league, you could take a look at.
All right. And then it's not all good. I mean, obviously. Let's talk about a pitcher who, good pitcher, probably was drafted fairly highly. Blake Snell did miss all of spring training or most of spring training, of course, waiting to get signed. Hasn't been good so far. Gave up 3 earned runs in his first start in only 3 innings pitched. And then today, 7 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. Now, on the plus side, I do see he had a 30% whiff rate, which is nice, but the only pitch he threw in the strike zone more than 50% of the time was the fastball. So there are some command issues here for Blake Snell at the moment. Is this just a case of missing spring training and he'll come around, or are you worried here?
That's what's funny. Like, how often can we get a reigning Cy Young winner and then say the command issues? Yeah, that's normal for him. Because it is. Yeah, this is what Blake Snell is. He's like effectively wild. Look, Blake Snell, no one's taking victory laps for busts or injured players, right? I would just say Blake Snell's a guy I did put on my preseason kind of do not draft list. Don't have him anywhere. I was worried because not just where is he going to sign. I didn't really care where he signed. And he signed in a great place. San Francisco for pitchers, perfect, right? Division he's familiar with and, good park factor and all that. Yeah, motivation actually should be better for him because he didn't get a big fat contract like he wanted, just like all the Boras clients didn't get, right? He should be motivated to have a really good season so that he can try to get the bag he didn't get this year, right? Everything should have been great. So is this just a matter of knocking the rust off? I don't know. I don't think it's just that. Because look, I did not want to buy into Snell because we've seen this from Blake Snell before. He is a guy with command issues. Along with that insane strikeout rate comes a pretty high walk rate. Comes a guy who can get himself into trouble at times, all right? Can get hit hard on occasion, and we've seen it twice in a row. So I do think he'll get better. I mean, I think he has to get better. And his first outing was 3 earned runs in 3 innings, but he'd still got strikeouts. He wasn't walking a bunch of guys. Okay, fine. It's just his first outing. Today, we can still say, okay, it's only his second outing. He didn't have a spring, right? And that kind of goes along with a guy you're familiar with, Kevin Gausman, the supposed ace of your staff. I mean, it's one of two things. Either he's still hurt, like that oblique is bothering him, and he's going to hit the IL soon. But let's hope not. Or the fact that he missed time in spring is affecting him, and he's going to get better once we get to May. So I think Snell will get better. But I am not going to be trying to go out and buy low on him because I don't know how much better. Well, I don't think the bottom line is we're going to see last year's version of Blake Snell this year. Now, keep or sell? That's the question, right? And Antoine's asking this.
That's the question from Antoine. Keep or sell?
I mean, I'd say sell, but this is pretty much the worst time to sell because you are selling as low as you can get. Because guess what? Everyone else sees what he's done, right? This is when you're basically selling at bargain basement, prices. So you're gonna have to probably hold on and wait till he has a good outing, hopefully, or two, and then you sell. All right. I don't know that you're ever going to be able to sell high, but he will get better. He will, be a guy who does finally have one of those outings. And so I'd say I would sell, but not yet.
All right, yeah, definitely wait for him to at least look good first, because you don't want to be selling low like that. So for now, you're going to be keeping there, and we do want to get to the questions, but really quick, let me just remind everybody, if you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy yet, this is a great time. There's still one more game tonight. You can try out these pick'ems. Dodgers, Padres. We got Shohei Ohtani, Yu Darvish, James Paxton, who I'm looking forward to another good outing from tonight. Tatis, Betts, etc. You can see all of them right there. Just when you join, use promo code Endgame when you join, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. And they'll give you a free pick'em. I'm not sure what the free pick'em is. It could be from a different sport. I don't know what they're doing these days. But they'll give you a free pick'em, like a free square right there. You already win right off the bat. You win. And you could try it out. It's a ton of fun. A great way to also enjoy fantasy baseball outside of your roto points, head-to-head leagues. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend you do it. And they have every sport in there, not just baseball. All the sports all year long. Ton of fun. Definitely recommend you check it out. All right, so we're going to get to the questions, and as always, we will try to get to as many as we can. If you don't want to wait around for your question to get answered, or you just want to say thank you for the hard work Pierre puts into for the videos, you can drop a super chat, and if you do, we will put your question to the front of the line and answer it first. But like I said, we will try to get to as many as we can. So we have a question, I guess a double here from Harry, because Tim says, same question as Harry. So Harry's question is, Hunter Brown could have 2 starts this week. Is he worth keeping, or are you dropping him?
I think we have to be out on him until we see not just one good start, not even just 2 good starts, but some sustained, I don't even know, just not suckitude. I don't know how to say it. He was as bad as you could possibly get, and that's not even an exaggeration. Last start, he gave up, more hits in one inning than any pitcher. Like, he hadn't even gotten a full inning out of his belt. They got 10 hits, 11 hits. I don't remember what it was. I mean, it was bad. They hung him out to dry, but he really did it to himself, because it's not like this was the second, third, or even middle of the game. He couldn't get anybody out, and that's coming off of, let's not forget, a bad start, which now looks pretty good in comparison. I thought this was a guy who was risky, but a risk worth taking, and I did take it in a couple leagues. I drafted Hunter Brown in a couple places, and now it's looking like it's not happening. I mean, I know we don't want to overreact, but there's some point where we have to look and just say, look, there's some major issues that need to be fixed here, right? This isn't there's a difference between a bad outing and a disastrous outing, and this is beyond that. And then it's been no good outings to kind of sugarcoat any of that. So you cannot trust him, because it is very easy for a guy, especially this early in the season, to wreck your ratios with 1 start. He already did that to a lot of people last week. You kind of have to, I would say this, as much as we like to chase the upside and the potential, sometimes it's just as important in baseball to avoid the landmines, to avoid those players who can sink you. And look, boring veterans are not exciting, but boring veterans can get the job done sometimes better than these young pitchers, and especially, and I kind of ripped on Martin Perez last week, and I was like, this guy's boring. You know what? Martin Perez has been really good so far. I mean, he has. Maybe you're just better off with him. And of course, he will get hit hard at some point too, because that happens. But yeah, you just have to leave Hunter Brown alone.
All right. Speaking of a guy, I don't think we're leaving him alone, although I kind of wish I could. Julio Rodriguez, consensus number 2 pick, top 5 pick. Is he a buy low?
If you're asking, would I buy low if I could? 1,000%. Are you going to be able to buy low? I mean, it depends on what kind of league you are in. Look, this is what's called. So I read a really geeky book sometimes, but I just learned a new term. It's called the endowment effect. So, look, if you spend a number 2 pick on Julio Rodriguez, are you after 2 weeks just willing to sell low on him? And I can ask you this because you actually have Julio Rodriguez.
I wouldn't want to sell low, but let me ask you if you could get like, because especially like a team like my team where I have no depth at hitting. If I could get 2 good hitters back, not 2 studs. I'm not gonna get 2 studs, but if I could get 2 like good hitters back, would I entertain it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, but I think you probably could buy low because I'm seeing like comments on Yahoo like I think he's actually the worst player in baseball. Who should I trade this bum for? Like, I'm being for real. Give me names. Can't get any worse at this moment. Just came here to laugh. Like, he came in just to get picked off. I guess he came in, pinch ran today and got picked off. Which, how do you even get picked off in today's baseball with all the rules? Anyways, I think you probably could buy low on him right now if you wanted to. I think people are really, like, fed up.
Well, this is where we say it always depends. So, like, I'll say it. If I could buy low on him, I absolutely would. He has not been as horrible as people make him out to be. Again, this is all about expectations. You expect him to be one of the top 5 best players in baseball, and he's been bad. So, yeah, you're going to think this is bad, but you also have to remember it's the middle of April. He's had a really bad couple of weeks. The whole Mariners offense just hasn't gotten going yet. But, yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand being frustrated, but there's no way you need to panic here at all. So, like, if I can buy low, I'm buying low, and I would give up 2 good players to get Julio Rodriguez. Now, I wouldn't give up, Fernando Tatis and Corey Seager. I wouldn't give up 2 stud players because that would be a mistake. But I wouldn't do that for anybody other than even Ronald Acuna.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what I do with him. All right, are we ready to add Graham Ashcroft to our rosters yet? So I'm looking it up. He's pitched 11 innings. He's got 11 strikeouts, a 5.4 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, and 1 quality start. Are we adding Graham Ashcroft?
He was solid today. I know, and one thing actually we discussed might start doing is because some people have asked on here, but also on Discord, ask about streamers, might start talking more about streaming options because that's so valuable, right? If you're really keeping up with fantasy baseball, or if you have pitchers who get hurt or you just need help, you need some streamers, right? 2-start streamers, guys who you can just kind of pick up. So somebody asked me, I think it was Fresh Fish, asked me yesterday about top 3 streamers for today, and I picked Ashcraft, Bello, and Flaherty. They turned out to all be pretty solid. Not amazing, but solid. Ashcraft was solid. But did I look at Graham Ashcraft and say, yeah, that's a guy I need to start? No, I looked at the matchup, right? I looked at the matchup. I said, he's a guy who in a matchup like this can get by. So Ashcraft is going to be streamable if you pick your spots throughout the season, but I'm not ready to make him like a mainstay in my rotation.
All right, that's a good segue into Jay's question. Are there any pitching prospects to look out for?
The obvious is Skeens, which is pretty much going to be a must-add soon. I was actually surprised because, I do the Beat the Breakout. We talk about some minor league players who you should stash and guys to look out for now. And I said, let's wait on Skeens. We don't know he's going to get called up. As dominant he's been in the minors, there's playing time, service time, I should say, issues. There's also readiness. They're going to give him a little more time. I was actually shocked to see that he's already over 50% owned in Yahoo leagues. Like, everybody's stashing him already. It's becoming a little more prevalent, I think, where people are going to just stash players beforehand because we get so excited about rookies. Well, we also, sorry to be the one who says this, we also have to be cautious with rookies, right? Because rookies, especially pitchers, they can hurt you just as much as they can help you sometimes. So I would just say that no matter who it is, no matter how great they look in the minors, you always have to be careful when you're talking about, pitchers especially, that just come up and they're going to make their start. Remember last week, or I think, was it Wednesday? Some people are asking about the Houston pitcher, Arrighetti. And I was like, I know he was great last year in the minors, but I'd say I wouldn't add him. And even if you do add him, don't start him. And what happened? His first start, he got lit up. I think he gave up 7 runs. So I'm not going to rush out to add any pitching prospect, no matter who it is, unless his name is Paul Skeens. And if you want Skeens, you're going to have to do it now. So there's some guys maybe you can keep an eye out for. And I would just say check the Beat the Breakout video, because I will talk about some more guys pretty soon. Braves are going to need somebody to come up pretty soon, because unfortunately, we already know Spencer Strider is gone. He's done for the season. And so I'm kind of curious to see who's going to come up. Are they going to bring AJ Smith-Shawver back up? He's a logical candidate. So he might be next up. Dylan Dodd, I thought might get a start. He hasn't yet. He's a guy who I know some people don't love, but he might actually be their best option in terms of readiness. So maybe just see what the Braves do. And then Jose Butto did make a good start for the Mets today. He just got called back up. But Christian Scott is another guy for the Mets that might get run, because they also need somebody else to kind of sit there in their rotation if Butto doesn't stay there. So those would be the guys I might realistically think are worth adding.
All right, Jay, there you go. And for anybody who's asking, I did post a Discord link down below. So if you want to jump in there, we have a channel dedicated just to fantasy baseball. All right, Harry has another question. How much longer are we holding on to Jordan Walker? May 1st?
Oh, man. I mean, if he winds up just spending most of the season in the minors, this might be my biggest L for the preseason. And I actually wanted being able to watch some baseball this weekend, Friday night, yesterday. And I watched some the Cardinals games, and every time I saw him come up, I was like, come on, show up, do something. And I saw him strike out with runners on base last night. And then, I think he got a triple, one of the at-bats I didn't see, but man, it is not happening. Look, I'll give him this week. If we don't see a turnaround this week, we just have to be realistic. Right? He's droppable.
All right, there you go. One more week. He's got one more week. Tim's in a keeper league. He's got Evan Carter, Jackson Churio, and Wyatt Langford. Very nice. Apparently, he wants to keep some and trade some. Okay. I guess it's like keep, trade, cut, except no cut. Who are you keeping? Who are you trading?
We can't use keep. That's not an option.
Keep, trade.
Well, Tim, you're gonna have to tell me how many you get to keep. That kind of matters, because you're saying.
Okay, let's just say for Tim's sake, he can only keep 2. He doesn't want to just outright cut one of these guys, so you have to trade one. Which guy are you parting ways with?
Well, this was different in a keeper league, because I was saying in a redraft, I'm still going to keep Carter a little bit over Langford, but I think in a keeper league, you have to put Langford just a little bit over Carter. Churio's the one. It's so hard to say, because he's got really the highest ceiling of them, but he's also just like Langford, so young. Is when are we really going to see it? Who to trade might be the best way to attack this, right? Who to trade? If you're going to trade somebody now or soon, you're going to want to trade the guy who has the most perceived value, right? And I would say that guy might be Langford, because that's the guy I want to keep the most. So it's hard to not want to keep Churio. I think you're okay if you absolutely have to trade one, or you just want to trade one. I hate to say it, but it probably should be Langford, because you're going to get the biggest return for him at the moment. And I think you kind of just have to keep Churio. So that kind of puts Carter stuck in the middle.
All right, well, there you go. If you have to trade one, go trade Langford and get a haul. Get a haul in return. And then he also wants to know, is Esteury Ruiz going to be called up? Apparently he's playing well in AAA. Is he going to be called up?
Yeah. Does it matter? I mean, he wasn't really playing that terribly before he got sent down. Does this have anything to do with getting on base? Um, they have to, right? Don't they have to call him up at some point? No, they don't, because they're the A's. They can do whatever they want. They don't care about winning. So honestly, I don't even think I would hold my breath for Ruiz, because it's just a dumpster fire there. I don't think he will be called up soon, because if I thought this was actually about performance, and if we thought that this was something that actually reflected what they said, then yeah, but it's not. It has nothing to do with how much he gets on base or his walk rate or anything like that. This is a team that's looking to basically kill the spirit of their remaining fan base so that it makes the move more palatable. And that's just the truth. So I'm going to say no. I'm not going to go out of my way to stash Ruiz.
All right. Not looking good there. And then Godly Pinhead, welcome back. Pepe, Bradford, Crochet, rank them.
Well, this got easier because I did see Bradford, unfortunately, just hit the injured list after he was one of the top pitchers the first couple of weeks, and he was the best pickup of last week. And then I just saw he went on IL. I don't think I saw what it was for. Did you see what it was for?
Lower back soreness.
Yeah, so nothing major. Thank God it's not the elbow, but I think you have to put him third. As much as I've been, beating the drum for Crochet, and I still think he's a strong pickup. He wasn't great his last start. I think I put Pepe first. I just like his stuff a little bit better, and I like the chances, honestly, of him just holding up over the season better. I mean, realistically, we have to look at potential for injury risk, and Crochet definitely is going to fit that bill. I mean, I hate to say that. I'm not putting it on him, trust me, but just realistically, the guy throws hard. Guy's a converted reliever, so I like Pepe and then Crochet, and then we'll put Bradford third.
All right, there you go. Good seeing you again. All right, week 2K. Drop T. Anderson for Suarez, Kikuchi, or Martin Perez? Martin Perez. Didn't you just talk about him? The vet? The boring vet is doing well?
He is doing well. But Perez is a guy who seems to get off to a good start, and then as the season goes on, kind of, I'd say wears down. That's not really his thing, but just he will have those moments where he gets hit hard. But hey, he's been good. Kikuchi, I will not fall for that. We've been down this road again. There will come a game where he gets tagged for like 4 home runs. I'm not buying into Kikuchi. Sorry, I'm just not doing it. And then Suarez, I think I have to go for Perez.
All right, there you go. Go for Perez. And then real quick, Sebastian, probably weren't here. We talked about Snell in the opening. You pretty much have to hold him because you're not a good time to sell him. Hope that he has a couple good outings, and then maybe you can try to sell him if you want, or maybe you buy into Snell. But pretty much you just gotta hold him at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna hope he gets better. I don't think you have to start him next time out because it's gonna take some time for him to get up to snuff. And once he has that good outing and everyone's like, hey, he's turned the corner, then I'll see if I can sell, high.
All right. So hope it gets better quick. All right. Yeah, Kier. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Trade Lipscomb or Mason Wynn in a 12-team Roto League. Who are you adding?
I've been on the fence about whether to put Lipscomb on the waiver wire video. I was on the verge last week, and then he kind of slowed down. But it looks like he's going to stick. He's going to be pretty much an everyday third baseman for them. Mason Wynn, I was big on preseason. He's got speed. He just stole a base. The problem is that it's going to feel a little shallow with Wynn. His batting average isn't going to be very high. He's sitting at the bottom of the order. He's not going to drive in runs. He's really not going to get to score many runs. If he was at the top of the order, I might get more excited, but I don't think that's happening. So I'm going to go with Lipscomb because I think he might help you a little bit more across the board. And even if you're desperate for steals, I mean, there's guys who wound up getting more attempts and successful steals than Wynn anyways. So I'm kind of souring on Wynn, at least for fantasy. Look long-term, I think he's going to be a solid player, but I think Lipscomb is just more interesting right now.
All right, there you go. And then JBL TF11 has 3 questions. Drop Outman. Is Ryan Mountcastle for real? And are we buying a Winker Rebirth?
I wouldn't drop out, man. I think he still has solid value. I mean, he's in the Dodgers lineup most days. He's going to give you some power, a little bit of speed. So, no, I don't think you need to drop him unless there's somebody much more appealing. Is Mountcastle for real? I think so. I think as long as you know what you're getting with him. Look, RBIs, he's been pretty good at driving in runs the last couple of years. That's not going to stop where he hits in that Orioles lineup. So, as long as you know, I think the home run upside is pretty much 25 home runs max, because we know last year they got capped when they moved the fence in a little bit. And he's a solid power hitter, but not an amazing power hitter. But yeah, Mountcastle is what he is. He's pretty solid. And then are we buying a Winker Rebirth? I might have to. Look, I don't want to, but I was watching for some reason. I guess it must have been the only thing on the Washington-Oakland game. And yeah, he looks. Look, he was a really good hitter a few years ago, and then he moved, and then we blame Seattle and hitting environment, and then the back, and then just. Then I really started to wonder: was it just he had that little surge in his prime, and that was it? I think he is a good hitter who's just had his his issues the last couple of years between health and situations. I do think, given the chance, he could have a sort of rebirth. Don't expect numbers like he put up in Cincinnati, though.
All right. There you go. Thank you for the questions. And then Unknown Screwdriver. Remember me, of course. How could we forget a name like Unknown Screwdriver? Exactly. So he's saying, should I trade Albies for Guerrero Jr.? He's got Detmers, Luzardo, and Crochet as aces. And he's also saying, or Bregman. So should he trade Albies or Bregman for Guerrero Jr.?
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I kept saying Albies was one of my favorite second-round picks this year. And you see why. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He hits in the Braves lineup. He gets you power and speed. Glad, even if he does come around, which I think he will. I know some people are going to start panicking on him. He's not getting you any steals, right? And Albies will get you home runs. You're not sacrificing power here. So, no, I'd rather have Albies just straight up. Your aces or Detmers, Luzardo, Crochet. I mean, those aren't really aces, but I know you did that trade and you got Tucker, so you're good.
What about Bregman for Guerrero Jr.? Would you do that?
Is he asking Albies for Guerrero or Albies for Bregman? I mean, I would just say I'd rather have Albies first. I'd rather have Guerrero second and then Bregman third.
Okay, because later on he says he's in a points league. Bregman
that's right. It's a points league.
Yeah, so I think he's feeling like he wants to upgrade from Bregman to Guerrero, if possible.
Isn't doing the job. Bregman will be fine. Looking at points league. No, I would hold on to Bregman if you have him in a points league.
All right, there you go. And by the way, for me, Detmers is an ace.
That's right, he is. Hey, maybe this is the year.
All right, if you need to free up an IL spot, are you dropping Jung, Royce, or Woo?
If you have to drop one of those, it's definitely Woo. I know Royce is going to be out a while. Well, they're both going to be out a while. They're all going to be out a while. I don't want to drop Royce or Young if I don't have to. So Woo is easily the drop here. All
right, drop Woo. Then Brandon saying, do you think Gill from the Yankees is a valuable pitcher?
No, not really. I mean, we know he got that rotation spot kind of by default, just because the Yankees decided not to make a move for still unexplained reasons and not sign anybody. And you see what's happening. Even if he's not pitching bad, they're not letting him go more than 5 max innings. Like, he's not getting out of the 6th. So I don't think he's going to deliver enough value for you. So if you're not in an AL only league, I don't think so.
All right. There you go. And then Yakir again. Who do you like more, Chas McCormick or Colton Cowser?
Well, that answer has changed over the past week, hasn't it? Colton Cowser's pretty much been the hottest hitter in baseball, I think, over the last week. I mean, I don't think that's too big an exaggeration. I mean, let's just see. Just just since he actually, by the way, when did this happen? Like, how did Cowser become good? Oh, because they actually played him. They actually said, hey, let's see what this guy can do if he's in the lineup. 11 RBIs and 3 home runs and 2 steals over the past week. And before that, he didn't do anything because he was not playing. I think we have to be all in on Colton Cowser at this point. There's really no reason not to be. Now, obviously, he's going to cool down at some point. Like, that's pretty obvious. But his upside is still way higher than McCormick.
All right, there you go. Carlos Polanco. Any relation? Maybe. Should you trade Gavin Stone and Arozarena for Tyler O'Neill and Michael King?
Now that's a spicy trade. Well, I hate to say, look, I was all over Tyler O'Neill in the preseason. Not saying I called him being like best hitter in baseball right now, but was absolutely on board with the whole Red Sox outfield. If you watch the sleeper videos and the breakout videos, and I mentioned Tyler O'Neill several times. But here's the problem. If you're getting him and King for Stone or Rizzo, what you're doing is you're buying high, right? You're getting a guy who is hot, and you're trading away a guy that you drafted in the 4th, 5th round, right? Arozarena, you know what you're getting. You're getting one of the better outfielders in baseball, top 20 player. Top 20 outfielder, maybe top 20 player. Tyler O'Neill is bound to have a good season if he stays healthy and he stays hot. But I'm not going to switch Arozarena for him. So I wouldn't do this because I still think you're fine with Arozarena. And I like Gavin Stone. I mean, I like King too. Michael King is a guy I've also drafted a lot and talked about a lot this preseason. But I like Gavin Stone, I'd say just about as much. And they're going to need him now. That Dodgers rotation, of course, again, having issues. Bobby Miller's on the IL, right? Walker Buehler not ready to come back. They need Gavin Stone. So I wouldn't do this.
All right. Sit tight there, Carlos. You got good players. And then Gamaxco asking, what do you think about Turnbull's start this week? And also, what would you take for someone like Matt Olson?
Turnbull, I'm always going to be very skeptical. He put together a couple of good outings early, and then, the tables turned. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Actually, I don't know. Well, who does he get this week? I don't even know offhand. The Phillies. I have to look it up. And I'm always going to be a little skeptical of him. I mean, he just played. Yeah, so he didn't even do that well against Pittsburgh. If he got to face Colorado, like maybe, but he's going to be up after that. So I don't know. Turnbull's not a guy I'm actively seeking to stream. I guess just put it that way. What would you take for someone like Matt Olson? It's going to have to be an elite player. I mean, you're looking to trade away, or somebody's looking to get Matt Olson from you? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it sounds like he said, what would you take for someone like Matt Olson? Like what would you have to get in return?
I think the only reason you would trade away Matt Olson is if you're getting a stud pitcher, because you need a stud pitcher, because you're like most everyone else and your pitchers have gotten hurt. So I think it would take that. I think it would take either a 2-for-1 where you're getting a solid mid-rotation arm. I mean, maybe like a Michael King plus. Okay, let's look at that deal we just said. Like if you said, I'll take a Arozarena and Gavin Stone for Matt Olson. Like I would entertain that. I would think I could do something like that. I would need a good offensive player that could mostly fill in, what I would lose from Olson, and a pitcher and another piece. You'd have to be gaining something to make it worth your while. So I think it would take at least a solid pitcher plus something else.
All right, there you go. And we need to talk T. McLovin off the ledge. Are we dropping Julio Rodriguez?
No, we cannot do this. We cannot do this. We're not even trading or selling low on J-Rod. Okay, we are holding J-Rod. Who can I get for Carroll in a trade? I mean, Carroll and J-Rod are like very similar type of players. And by that, I mean they're both top 10 fantasy players. So if you're not getting a top 10 fantasy player in exchange, there's no reason to trade Carroll. So it would have to be an ace. And I mean a true ace. There are not many true aces left because Garrett Cole and Spencer Strider are gone. I had Corbin Burns. And even then, I don't know if you're winning that trade. So if you have these guys, just hold on to them. Just hold them.
Yeah, don't. Even I'm not dropping Julio Rodriguez.
No.
All right, Lyle's in the keeper league. We're getting a lot of keeper league questions tonight. I like it. Is trading Devers for Holiday reasonable? Now, after we streamed Holiday's debut, he hasn't been off to a great start so far in his major league career. But which side are you taking here, Devers or Holiday in a keeper league?
He did finally get a hit, so he's 1 for 13. Well, look, that doesn't matter, right? That's the past. He's a rookie. Oh, by the way, he's super young. Was he 21 years old? I think. Okay, so whatever. Is Devers for Holiday reasonable? Look, we can't get carried away by the name and by the hype. We have to look at production. We have to look at the fact that Devers is still young. He's still in his prime. I'm going to say if it's a forever dynasty league, maybe I could entertain this. But just a keeper, I think I'm going to keep Devers. Don't worry about Devers' stats. Don't worry about Devers, right now, first 2 weeks. Throw that out. Look at the past 3-4 years of Devers. He's a stud. So I know it's tempting, but I'm going to hold Devers.
All right, there you go. Hold Devers. Oh, sorry. Whoops. I skipped Sebastian. We'll get right back to you, Fantasy Sports. Apologies. What do you think about his pitching rotation? He's got Snell, Kramer, Morton, Eovaldi, Lugo, Reynaldo Lopez, and Zach Littell. What do we get?
We might need to upgrade somewhere here. And unfortunately, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who all got hit pretty hard this weekend. Snell, yeah, should be better, but I don't know if he's going to be able to be an ace. Morton should be fine. Eovaldi, eventually he'll be fine. We're going to need more upside here, though. And then Kramer, I don't know if he's really worth holding on to long term. And honestly, Reynaldo Lopez makes me nervous. So, honest feedback, I'd be very nervous if this is my rotation. So let's do this. When Snell turns it around a little bit, try to sell high in a more reliable kind of ace. You know what? George Kirby, buy low candidate. I think this is a time to go out and get a guy like that. And yeah, I think you might have to do a little bit more streaming here and there. You got some experience on your staff. I would just say this. Look, I know I'm worried about young pitchers and rookies, but your staff is very, very experienced. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to make some moves here.
All right. Hopefully Snell gets it going and you can make some moves. All right, back to fantasy sports. Head-to-head points league. How would you rank Bush, Hoskins, Hayes, and Mikhail Garcia?
Points league, that's interesting. Points league, Hoskins definitely loses some value because he's still striking out a bunch. I think Bush has been a little better than I expected in terms of his plate discipline. I'm going to take Bush over Hoskins. Hayes is fine. I'm sorry, he just doesn't do it for me. So I'm going to go Garcia, mainly because he does hit at the top of the lineup. They are scoring runs. He will hit for average, probably better than these guys. And I don't know how much your league values steals. I mean, that depends, right? Because there's some like take Underdog, for example. Like the Underdog best ball draft preseason, it's weighted more towards power hitters. The home runs, because also doubles and hits, it all combines, the fact that you get a slugger can outweigh somebody who steals a ton of bases. But anyways, I'm still going to go for, assuming you have like a typical point setup, Garcia, Bush, Hoskins, Hayes.
All right, there you go. And Mr. Weatherford has two of the same question, but with different players. Will Hoppy, Garver, Raleigh keep one?
Keep one. I'm gonna go still with Raleigh. I mean, I know he's like most of the Mariners we keep talking about. It's just been bad this early part of the season. He'll get better. He still hits in the middle of the order. We know what he can do. So I'll go with Raleigh.
All right, and then Beatty, Chapman, Bush keep one.
No, that's an interesting question. That's one I'm gonna have to think about. Chapman off to a pretty good start, but long term in San Francisco, is he going to deliver better than these guys? I think I still put him over Beatty. You know, Beatty is finally showing us something. I think I still like Bush the best. I'm big on him. He's got power. He's actually hitting pretty well in terms of average. So I still like Bush the best.
All right, there you go. Thank you for the questions. Cali Loco, would you drop Waka for Buto, C. Scott, Yariel Rodriguez, or Yates? Or none?
Yeah, I'd drop Waka. Huh?
I said, or none of the above.
or just no.
Yeah, just no.
Because I think, wasn't it like a few days ago you asked, because you're looking for streamers, right? Didn't you ask about Waka? I feel like you did.
I did. I asked you about Waka, and you said, nah, you don't have to pick up Waka. And
I said, nah. And I don't think he did too well in his last outing, so probably good that you didn't pick him up. I would drop Waka. I'm going to be a little cautiously optimistic about Buto. Looked good today, and hey, that was against that Red Hot Royal offense. So Buto is interesting. Yariel Rodriguez, also a guy I think I'm going to talk about this week, but let's wait and see how long the leash is for him. I mean, Yates, if you really need saves, I'm still a little skeptical about Yates. I don't know why. I guess they're going to make him the guy instead of Robertson, but I'll just go Buto.
All right, there you go. And now I'm pretty interested in this question because I may have lost Sal Perez. So which catcher would you roll with till Murphy comes back or Sal Perez comes back? If somebody had that question. Not that I don't think Campusano is even on our waiver wire, but I think Diaz is. But Campusano or Diaz?
You know, I'm all over Campusano. He's still looking good. He was watching the other day. I tried to stay up and watch all of those Dodgers-Padres games. Last night, the game didn't start till like 10:30 or 11:30 or something crazy because of the rain delay. So I did wind up falling asleep. But yeah, Campusano, there was one situation where he hit it hard and it looked like it was going to be extra base hit, but it got caught. He's making good contact. Obviously, got off to a really good start. I like Campusano, tremendous upside. I'm definitely going Campusano.
All right. Unfortunately, Campusano not on our waiver wire. I looked. All right, so 7 even. Thoughts on Reynaldo Lopez on the Braves rest of the year?
Well, Lopez, he's a guy who we've seen. He is better off as a reliever. I know some people are interested in him possibly being in the rotation. We been there and done that. He's not very good as a starter. He was really effective when he got put in the bullpen, right? 1-2 innings at a time. And then he started becoming valuable. But as a starter, he just doesn't seem to respond. So, and though we think this is a good thing for him, but it might not be. Some guys just play better in shorter situations. So I really feel like he might wind up being a trap.
All right, there you go. Could be a trap. TM asking you to rank in a head-to-head points league Adams, Westberg, and Donovan.
Points league again. This is where you figure in a roto league. I think Adames is the guy that has the most upside, but points league is different, right? Those home runs aren't as valuable. Can I put Westberg over him? That's my dilemma right now. It's between those two. Donovan, I know he's leading off and he's okay, but he's just more like a utility guy. Man, it's tough. I really think I can see Westberg being at least as valuable, unless Adames really has kind of a really big bounce back year. I think right now I'll go Adames 1A and Westberg 1B. And then Donovan 3. But I would just say this: I might change my mind on that in a couple of weeks if Westberg continues to hit well.
All right, and he's got another one for pitchers. Rank these starting pitchers: Flaherty, Lodolo, Harrison, Hawk. Never get his name right. I don't know why. It's now a thing. Now it's like it's a thing it's in my head now. And Kyle Bradish ranked these pitchers.
You got the yips for the Hawk name.
Yeah, I got the yips now. It's like who was that? Who was the second baseman for the Yankees way back in the day? Got the yips, can throw the ball to first. What was the name?
Steve Sachs.
No, not Steve Sachs. For the Yankees.
Chuck Knobloch.
Yes, Chuck Knobloch. Yes, remember that? He couldn't even like throw the ball to first. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking Steve Sachs was a Dodger, but he did later play for the Yankees. But yeah, it was Knobloch. Yeah, it's a thing.
It was like routine ground ball. He would like throw it into the first row. It was like what? Like these dudes run over to first and hand it to him. Anyways, rank these guys.
Rank these players. Lodolo, man, he looked good, but let's wait another start. I am still nervous about the leg. I like Harrison. I know he's not as exciting, but I think I like him. I'm gonna just say right now, I'll put Bradish last. I don't trust the elbow. I don't want to go there. I don't trust the elbow. So let's say right now, tentatively, we'll put Harrison 1, Houck 2, Flaherty 3, Lodolo 4, and then Bradish 5. But these are also all pitchers for the most part. And one of the reasons I put Harrison near the top is because I feel more secure about him on a weekly basis. I think guys like Flaherty, guys like Lodolo especially, you're going to pick your spots. They aren't going to be necessarily just set and forget. I know we want to just say, oh, I'm going to pick this pitcher and he'll be great the rest of the season. You really, really, really have to pay attention to matchups. You're really going to have to pick your spots. Some guys have a great month and then a bad month and vice versa. So with Lodolo, it's going to be kind of a big question mark every time he takes the mound. It's like he'll be great or he'll be, terrible. There's not a lot in between. So that's kind of like my reasoning for it. I'm sorry, I'm just not trusting Bradish.
All right, now we got a couple of Victor Scott questions. Is it time to drop them? And should you swap them out for Blaze, Winker, or Hearn?
I think it has to be. I mean, we can only wait for so long. You can't steal bases if you don't get on base. That's just kind of how that works. So you can drop Victor Scott, and then let's see if he happens to start hitting like crazy. Oh, well. I think you can pick him up if you can try to pick him back up, but yeah. And then I like Blaze. I mentioned him last week on the waiver wire video, so I'm going to go Blaze right now. If Blaze happens to get taken, then you can go Winker.
All right, and then Victor Scott or Jacob Young?
Gotta go Young. With Young, though, I would say, don't be surprised if he's not a mainstay in the lineup very long. How much longer can they keep James Woods down? I don't think it'll be that long. James Wood, I should say. And then Dylan Cruz at some point will come up too. So for now, just go Young.
All right, there you go. And then Wilson, we did talk a little bit about Esteury Ruiz earlier. Don't think he's going to get called back up. What about Kierstad? What do we do about him?
I mean, you say, well, they have to, right? It's just a matter of time. Where are they going to play him? There's no room. You might sadly have to wait longer on Kierstad. So he is worth stashing, though. If you have an NA spot, put him there. If you don't have an NA spot, it's not going to be worth it. And then same thing with the Ruiz, only if you have an extra spot. But I'm not going to just assume he's getting called back up any day now, because what has really changed from the time that he got sent down to now? They were just waiting to see how well he hits at AAA. That's what they're waiting for? That's not it.
All right. Not looking good for those guys. Okay, well, a combination of Jackson, Holiday, Turang, and Cronenworth, who, by the way, have been one of my best waiver wire pickups. Cronenworth coming through so far. At second base, make Albies tradable to address other needs. So if you got those guys, are you okay? Are you comfortable trading away Albies to address other needs?
Interesting. So you already have, I guess you're overloaded at second base. I I think Cronenworth is a solid player you can keep, right? You can start pretty much every day and be fine. Holiday, obviously not yet, but you know what the upside is. And Terang for now. I think yes. The answer to this is yes, but only if, when you say addressing other needs, I mean, you should be getting a lot in return for Albies. You should be getting a high-end starting pitcher, assuming that's your need, because don't we all need that? Or whatever else you need, a slugger or whatever. So only do this if
Oh, not sure what happened.
glitch in the matrix.
There we go. Yep, we had a glitch. So you're saying only do this if
you get a good enough return for Albies.
There you go. All right, rank these guys for rest of the season in a categories league. Not even going to try to pronounce that name. PFAADT, Lodolo or Flaherty? Flaherty.
Yeah, I definitely had to look that one up last year. It's fought.
Okay.
He fought very hard to keep the Cardinals off the base pass, and it didn't work because he got wrecked. The other day he didn't look good. Gave up the first home run of Nolan Arenado's season. It's just not looked good. And I was kind of optimistic with Fott, but maybe after last season struggling, maybe the postseason helped him. No, he's all over the place. I'm gonna put Fott at distant third here. In fact, I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to do the panic video for this week and tell you guys who you do need to cut. Yeah, it's time to cut him. I don't think you need to keep him. I'm going to go also with the same rankings I had from the previous question. Flaherty above Lodolo.
All right, and then we kind of did this one, Waka or Flaherty over Waka. All right, here we go. Is Ellie De La Cruz trending towards the first round pick next year in head-to-head points leagues?
Yes, he's going to be. Now, still a lot of baseball to be played, but if he's going to wind up stealing at least 40 bases, if he's going to hit at least 20 home runs and not kill your average, yeah, he's going to be a first-round pick. So I think so.
All right, and then Josh asking Jackson Merrill or Tovar?
Well, I'm going to go Tovar, and I explained this to some extent, not about Tovar so far, but Merrill, if you look last week, did a sell high video. I think this is a good time to sell Merrill because he's off to a hot start, and I know people just assume he's a high-end prospect, right? He's been playing every day. He's hitting well. Why would you trade him away? Because you're going to feel a little empty at the end of the day in terms of the categories because he's not really hitting for power. And he's not really stealing a lot of bases, and he'll steal a few. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think in fantasy, not going to be quite as valuable as reality. And Tovar, I think, is going to be better in those categories.
All right, there you go. Going with Tovar. And we did touch on this briefly earlier, but how optimistic, if at all, are you about Jordan Walker this year?
The vibe is deteriorating. Let's just put it that way.
All right.
One more week.
I think you said one more week. Yes, one more week. All right, Benet Black, what's up? Good to see you. Always with us in football season 2. Okay, we kind of answered this, although he threw in Heim. So Campusano, Raleigh, or Heim at catcher?
Well, that makes it tough because I'm saying to hold on to Raleigh, but I'm also saying you can pick up Campusano, and then Heim is, we know he's been solid. I'm going to actually put Heim not just because of injury, but because I'm not as sure about playing time for him. I'm going to put him last. I think I'm going to stick right now with Raleigh. And then if he just doesn't get it going, or you're just tired of waiting, you can go Campusano. Westbrook over Julian. Also close. I do think Julian has more power upside. I like that he's the leadoff hitter most days. So I think if this was a points league, I would prefer Westbrook. But if it's a roto 5x5 traditional league, I'm going to give the edge to Julian.
All right. Shades lost Lewis and now Berger. Any potential replacements? And can Jared Jones? I'm pretty sure you like Jared Jones. So you probably think he can sustain it. But any replacements for Lewis or Berger that you can think of?
Let's see. Depending on who's available, of course, in your league. So you're looking for a third baseman who's actually available. I mean, I talked about Oswaldo Cabrera a couple of weeks ago. He was picked up a lot, but I think he's been dropped a little bit lately since he's cooled down, not surprisingly. I still think he's a good pickup. So if he's available, Westberg, we've talked about him a lot of questions. Michael Busch, I think, is still going kind of under the radar, which surprises me because he was a high-end prospect, and then now he finally got his shot. He's with the Cubs. You figured he'd be getting more hype, but he's not. He's hitting well. He's hitting even better than I think could have expected this early in the season. And then if you're looking just for a run producer, I think Suarez in Arizona, coming off a not great season, but he's in a better environment this year. So I do like Eugenio Suarez. If you have to go deeper, depending how deep it is, Brett Beatty, another guy I just talked about on waivers.
All right, there you go. There's some options for you. And I don't think we talked about this today, but I think we talked about it last week. Any clue when we're going to see Paul Skeens?
No specific clues. If I had to guess, I would say early May, but I'll also tell you this. If you want to grab him and stash him, you're going to have to do it now because he's already been picked up in a lot of leagues. I think as soon as Holiday got the call, everybody jumped on the next big prospect, the guy who's dominating, and obviously number one pick is Skeens. So, yeah, if you're thinking of possibly stashing him, you just don't wait.
All right, go get him. And then how concerned are you about Musgrove and Kirby? I don't think you're very concerned about Kirby because I think you feel like he's a buy low. What about Musgrove?
Well, you know what? I see that basically someone already answered this exactly the way I would have a chance. Yeah, Kirby's fine. Musgrove is more concerning. I really was big on Musgrove, thought he was a nice bounce back candidate, nice draft discount, and it doesn't look like it. Now, is he right physically? I don't know. Maybe he just needs a little bit more time, but I will say I'm definitely starting to get nervous about Musgrove. So let's see what happens. Kirby, no concerns.
All right. And then who comes up to the big show first? James Wood, not James Woods, the actor, James Wood, or Heston K?
I think it's Wood because, talk about polar opposites in terms of situation here for the team. There's so many players that could be called up from the Orioles farm system that there's no spot. They're sorry. You're going to have to wait. How much longer are they going to keep rolling Eddie Rosario out there in Washington? Winker, I guess, wound up being a good pickup for them because he's hitting well. But yeah, Wood is just a matter of time. He's also a guy I'm going to go ahead and say this week. I think now's the time to stash him if you can. So if I had to bet, I would definitely bet on Wood.
All right. And then we've kind of talked about this, but Colton Cowser, is he breaking out or is it just a hot streak?
Breakout all the way. He was hot all spring. He's been hot this whole week since they actually decided to play him. Yeah, this is another high-end prospect who only is now getting talked about because he finally got his shot and only because he was in Baltimore. If he was at another team where he made, opening day roster, we would have been talking about a long time ago. So yeah, I'm definitely buying into Cowser.
All right, there you go. It's a breakout. All right, rank these catchers. A lot of ranking catchers. Campusano, Raleigh, and Wilson Contreras.
All right, so we talked about these two guys not too long ago. I'll go ahead and put Contreras on top still. Remember, he did miss a couple of games, a hand issue. He's fine. He'll hit the ball hard. He'll get you power, and he won't sink your average. So I'm going to put Contreras. Now, this is a points league too. Better plate discipline for sure than Raleigh. So it makes it a little closer for Campusano, but I'm still going to go Contreras first.
All right. And then a lot of Campusano questions. He's on waivers in a 10-team league. Is he worth the second waiver priority?
If it's a 10-team league, you really shouldn't have to fight for a guy like that on waivers. So no, I don't know who your catcher is. I would think in a 10-team league you'd have a solid catcher, but no, I wouldn't burn a high waiver priority in a 10-team league on him.
All right. And then in a 12-team roto, he's got Junior Caminero and James Woods stashed. Would you drop either of them for Joey Loperfido?
Very good name to drop. That's exactly one of the guys I'm going to talk about this week. Stash Loperfido. He's been the best power hitter in the minors. But no, I'm not going to drop those guys. I think we might see him up before Caminero, but we know Caminero's got the higher ceiling. Although I guess I should ask, is this a keeper league at all, or is this just redraft? Because I think that does matter. But I would say not Wood. I'm keeping Wood. Probably won't drop Caminero. If it is a redraft only league and you're just looking for value this year, and we do start to hear rumblings that Loperfido will get the call. I know sometimes we don't hear until after the fact, right? And that's what makes it tough. But I would hold for now.
All right, and buy with Burdell. I feel like he's out there looking at the deep pitchers. Is Blackburn legit? He started 3 games. He has yet to give up an earned run. He has a .72 whip, 3 quality starts in 3 starts. Are we in? Are we in on Blackburn?
We are as in on him as we were, was it 2 years ago when he did this exact same thing and then came crashing down to earth? Yeah, we've already seen this. That he just, I don't know, dude loves April, I guess. So is he legit? No, not at all. He's going to do well, and then he'll come back to earth. So I would just say, if you have him, you start fetching offers for him right now. If he's out there on waivers, you pick him up, and sure, you can keep playing him for a little bit. But this is going to be a really hard regression sometime soon.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like no one runs in a .72 whip. Not sustainable for anybody.
Yeah.
All right, here again, Blake Perkins or Chaz McCormick?
I'll still go with Chaz. He's going to be solid. Perkins, let's see how long he can keep this going. But I still like Chaz McCormick.
All right. And then TJ Duh. Who do you think is more valuable going forward, Luis Arias or Gleyber Torres?
Yeah, Torres has been really, really cold, but I called him a buy low. I'm still buying low on him. I still like Torres rest of the season. It's got to be Torres. He'll get you some power. Arias won't. He'll get you some steals. Arias won't. And one of these teams is the best in their division. One of these teams is the worst in their division. So, yeah.
All right, there you go. Brandon, I'm glad you clarified this. I saw your comment earlier, and I had no idea what you were talking about. And you said something about football, and I was like, what is he talking about? It's not football season yet, although it's always football season in my house. Is Nemo, Lane Thomas, or Newt Bar? Good waiver ads. Newt Bar.
Yeah, I saw Newt Bar auto-corrected to football or something.
Yes, and I was like, what? And then it's like Lane Thomas. I'm like, Lane Thomas, isn't he a football player too? I'm like, what is this guy asking about?
Okay. Are those guys good waiver ads? Nimmo really shouldn't be on waivers. I'm going to pick him up. I'm surprised that Lane Thomas would be on waivers. I know he's been ice cold, but still, this guy was drafted around pick 100 in most leagues. Newt Bar, I get it. He's just waiver fodder. I mean, besides the fact he was injured until just a couple days ago. But I would say grab Nimmo for sure. You don't have to pick up Lane Thomas, but you can.
And then Newt Bar.
Newt Bar, if you have the other two, you don't need him. I'd put him third.
Okay. All right. We never like to see this. Camacho didn't know what I was doing and dropped Ellie De La Cruz early in the season. Ouch.
Well, I'm just gonna try to make a positive spin and say this is a teachable moment. Don't drop high-end fantasy players after a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like T. McLovin, don't drop Julio Rodriguez, please.
Do not.
All right, is it time to drop Ledlurk?
It's supposed to be Leclerc.
Leclerc, yes, Leclerc. That's right.
Yep.
Best available are Finnegan, Uribe, and MacArthur.
Yeah, Finnegan, I thought was really going under the radar. No, he's not going to be the best for your ratios, and Uribe had a couple of rough outings, so they'll get you saves though. I would like to pick up Uribe still, and I think Finnegan is also a solid choice. So one of those two guys. I mean, I like MacArthur too. I just don't think he's going to get as many save opportunities.
All right. And then it's Lexi. Could I get a top pitcher for Volpe?
You should be able to get a top pitcher of Volpe. Are you going to be able to? I don't know. Might be still early for that. So you could try, but I wouldn't assume you're going to get a top end pitcher for him. But, we're always surprised by some of the trades that go down, right? You never know. It won't hurt to try.
That's true. And then I actually have this player, so I'm curious your thoughts. How are you feeling about Paul Goldschmidt so far?
I feel kind of the same as I've felt about him the last, 2-3 years. He is solid. He's fine. You've got no worries about him. He'll be fine.
That's kind of how I feel. He's fine.
Yeah.
But he's not one of the guys that I look at and think like, oh, man. All right. What are your thoughts on Brandon Marsh?
It's kind of annoying. I don't mean personally. I just mean just annoying in fantasy. Sometimes he looks great and sometimes he disappears. He is playing a fair amount. I know he's hitting well, but we've seen this happen with him before. It just tends to be very streaky. So I'd say you can pick him up. You can stream him for now. But again, this is another guy who also, just like when you just get your hopes up and feel like he's going to continue to keep going, and then he just kind of stops doing it. So I think he's streamable.
All right. And then real quick, Wilson, we've talked about Blake Snell a couple times. Should get better. Didn't have any spring training, but also if it does get better, we're going to be looking to sell. So not really panicking, just waiting for him to get a little bit better. Now, we talked about this a little bit, but if Yelich goes on IL, are we picking up Bush?
Yes. Good pickup.
Okay. There we go. I might be right there with you, UE2K. I think I know you're going here. I don't really know what Taylor Ward has done this year, but I'm pretty sure going Colton Cowser. It's in a points league, though. Are you still going Colton Cowser?
Taylor Ward has been hot, but I'm still going to go Cowser right now. Again, it's just a matter of playing time. If they keep him in the lineup, which how could they even possibly justify not keeping him in the lineup, then I think I'm going to stick with Cowser.
All right. And then thoughts on Bogaerts?
He's fine. No worries there. I drafted a lot of Bogaerts, thought he was a pretty good value this year. So, yeah, keep rolling with Bogaerts.
All right, and then AIF saying major stream about anyone versus the White Sox. Are the what? Because I know in fantasy football we have defenses, like offenses, where it's like stream defenses against this offense, or we might be like stream wide receivers against this defense because it can't. Is that just how we feel about the White Sox? If there's a pitcher going against the White Sox, just stream them.
Yes, like very very few exceptions, but yes, this is the team to Oakland too. I mean, for the most part, but yeah, White Sox. I mean, it looks pretty much like a AAA team.
And then Gamoxco has a football trade. Brandon, if you want to ask, I saw you join the Discord. If we do still have quite a few questions to get through, don't want to talk about football here, although I'd love to talk about football. You can ask us in the Discord about that. But yeah, there's been a lot of chatter about the potential Brandon Ayuk trade, so we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we're actually about to get to a football stream too. So anybody here who is a football fan, or if you're thinking about it or whatever, just check it out. Fantasy Endgame, the original channel, Fantasy Endgame football channel.
All right, Wilson, should I trade CJ Abrams and Joe Musgrove for O'Neal Cruz and Yamamoto?
Ooh, another spicy trade. If you're getting Cruz and Yamamoto, I'm doing it. I know that Yamamoto, and I was watching that game. Yeah, he got taken deep early by the Padres. For some reason, the Padres just seem to have his number, but I'm still all in on Yamamoto, and you've got to be worried about Musgrove. So that looks like a major upgrade right now at pitcher. And Cruz and Abrams have been pretty equal so far. I mean, I think Abrams will get you more steals, and Cruz should get you more home runs, but I think that's pretty comparable. So I'm taking the Cruz-Yamamoto side pretty confidently.
All right, Shane wants you to rank these three. I think that's first baseman in an on-base percentage categories league. Goldschmidt, Naylor, or Casas? Your boy.
Wow. We're gonna end on a tough question like this. We gotta finish with a layup. Okay. Man, I'm so high on Casas. I loved him preseason, and he's gonna be good. I don't think I can still put him above Goldschmidt just yet in an OBP league. And Naylor has just continued to be so solid. These guys are all really close, but I think I gotta go Goldschmidt, Casas, Naylor. But this is close.
All right. I don't see a layup.
Yeah, you guys asked some tough questions, but that's what this is for.
This is not a layup, but I don't think William. Because I see a lot of questions from a lot of guys who've already answered questions for. Not that we mind. We have no problem answering multiple questions for people. We enjoy it. But I don't know if Williams had his question answered. But I also don't know if this is a layup. Ohtani and Arenado for Olsen and Ramirez head-to-head points league. Which side?
And okay, a points league. Ramirez, such a stud in points leagues. You got to consider him basically like a first-round pick. And, of course, Ohtani is just Ohtani. I'm going to have to lean the Olsen-Ramirez side. Just because Arenado is still solid, but we can tell he's just not quite the same guy he used to be. I think he's not that far removed, but I think we could still have to prefer a guy like Olsen, despite the strikeout versus walk ratio and compared to Arenado, the power upside will make up for it. So I'm going to say this is fair, but I'll go the Olsen Ramirez side.
All right. And then I think we got a layup here at the end. Thank you, FP the Ghost. Because I'm pretty sure you drop Hunter Brown for almost anybody. So would you drop Hunter Brown for Seth Lugo or Martin Perez? Or both?
Either. I'll go Perez right now because he's going to go longer into games. Could get you a little bit more in terms of strikeouts. So, yes, drop Hunter Brown and go Perez for now.
All right, there we go. All right, guys, we do have to get going because, like Pierre said, we do have a football draft to do. So if you're interested in football, you can check that out over at our other channel, Fantasy Endgame. Also, if you haven't tried Underdog yet, it looks like it is too late for tonight's Dodgers-Padres game, but they do this every day. You can also draft with us here at Underdog Fantasy. If you join using our promo code Endgame, you see it scrolling there on the bottom. They will match your first deposit up to $100, so you get free money to use on picks, on drafts, whatever you want. They have all sorts of sports, so definitely check that out. We'll be back here, I think, Wednesday, right, Pierre? We're going to be back Wednesday during the middle. So we go, and somebody did ask earlier, I didn't pull it up, if we're here every Sunday. Yes, we're here every Sunday, every Wednesday. Streaming, answering your questions, so look for that. And again, if you haven't joined the Discord, I did post the link in the chat. Let me drop it one more time here. Whoops, get that out of the way. There you go. Join the Discord. We have a channel dedicated just to fantasy baseball if you want Pierre to answer your questions there. Also, when football season comes, I'm sure a lot of you probably play fantasy football as well. In fact, I recognize many of you from the football channel. So if you haven't joined our Discord yet, join it there. What else? Subscribe, like, do all that stuff. And we will. Oh, and don't forget tomorrow's video. Players you can drop, right? We're getting players you can drop tomorrow. Is that what's coming?
Yep. Last week talked about players not to drop. Don't panic. So I figure it's time to flip it and just say, all right, we've seen enough. Just cut bait and move on. I know some of the players you guys already asked about. Some of you already did it. So just going to confirm those.
All right, guys. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Keep watching those videos.